Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lilu Nishmasimi Marosi Ruspas Mordechai. 2 weeks have passed since the unforgettable weekend in Israel. I can't keep thinking about the inspiring time we had during our too short visit to Israel and RBS. Being at MDY for Shir for the first time, exciting, but just felt natural. The beautiful Shabbat of Achdut, with so many different Jews enjoying Tefillah and Sudot together. The incredible Sima of the Shabbos celebration of Torah that no one could have anticipated how special it would turn out to be. Thanks to everyone who made it happen. And thanks to everyone who made the trip to come make this the ultimate type of guy trip, one that celebrates learning Torah. The reason I'm reading this is because of the guy trip. There's a whole big thing now with, what was the name of that, the guy that does the podcast? No, what's his name? Lichtenstein. Had a whole thing about guy trips to Vegas and private jets, and ski trips is different. Ski trips is okay, but guy trips, and here's the guy trip too. The unbelievable Siyam, Joel Mizrahi, he's the representative of, oh boy, what's the name of the place over there? Tinek, thank you. Shkoyach. This is the man cave. Yes, correct. I would like to show you, something's wrong here with the program. It's just, yeah. Here, you see this picture? Chaim Snow took a still from a video, and you see all the guy. You could see he highlighted me, and the whole. This is darker than it really is. But what's beautiful about this picture, and it was very emotional, is you see 4 guys locked with their arms together on the bottom of the screen, and that represents MDY. You have a guy in a shtreimel, a guy with a velvet yarmulke, a guy with a kippas ruga, and a guy with a black hat. Those 4 guys. MDY is unbelievable. Here you have, they wrote a whole email, but Talmidim, they signed off Talmidim Clifton, Avigdor Weiss, and Moshe Mukin. He chapped him I guess he goes on a bus to Manhattan, and he just sat down next to him and he said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I do MDY." He said, "You also MDY?" And they gave each other a big hug. This guy calls himself the Puparuv because his name is David Papa. The Puparuv steiging with rebellion on the way to Rebbe Melech on the day of the Yartzeit. All right, we'll do the sponsors. This month's sponsor for the Koil Anonymous and Zechus of Hillel Ben Sor, Dino, Rivka, Bas Fege, they should be zechus the Zerusha Kayoma. Parnas HaChodesh, by the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood as a zechus for our families. Parnas HaChodesh, friends and family, Refuah Shlema, Yaakov, Yehuda Ben Gittel. Parnas HaChodesh, Bresler, Austein, Rosenberg, Schulman, and Tobias families, the zechus Refuah Shlema for Rav, Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Yisroel, Meir, Dovid Ben Yocheved, Druk Shlita, and Victor Shalom, Zechariah, Refuah Shlema, for Liza Lea Bat, Mazel Tov. I need that.
We'll be back.
I need it now, but okay. Shkoyach. And sponsored by Nachum Horowitz, as a zechus Refuah Shlema for Adam Lobatto's father, Dovid HaKoyen Ben Miriam, my favorite figure, Rivka Bas Henya, both in ICU units, they should have a Refuah Shlema. Okay. So, Be'ezer Hashem, we'll get our thing back. That's what I was asking before, Shir, if you see my screen. You said, yeah. I was like, no. I was, okay, fine. Rabbi Isai, I just, not to toot my own horn, but yesterday, the entire day I was in bed. The entire day, I learned for 1 hour yesterday. And I want to give a thanks to Rebbeinu Shalom that even though the day before was Daf Chof Aleph, it was a very difficult Daf of Shniyos, and I wasn't feeling well, I was able to somehow pull off the charts. And with being in bed yesterday, I think there's a decent amount of stuff. Today's much easier Daf. The point is that a lot of people are going through some hard times with Yevamos. Daf Yomi is not always easy. And sometimes you don't feel well. This is the most sick I've been in the last 4 years. But we're here today, we're plugging on, we're going weiter. Nothing is going to stop us to do the daf. The daf is it. And here we go. Daf Chof Aleph Amud Beis, all the way on the bottom. Not all the way, but where are we? Like 11 lines from the bottom. Sholach le Rav Misharshia mitav Senoya le Rav Papi. Ilamdeinu Rabbeinu. You know what? let's pause the share. Let's just pause. We're not going to do share until we get the computer back. We'll have to stop now. Shalom Aleichem.
If they don't get it to work, this share will be off the charts.
Ooh. You know, you were really supposed to be born in England, not in Toronto. It's more like an English kind of humor guy, no?
We're just right now uncharted territory.
Oh. Now, I do want to show you, if I can. Oh, Rabbi Sai, Levi Friedman is here. Rabbi Sai, big round of applause. Yeah, Yishkoyach. Unbelievable. He came in time for. I want to show you this video. Are you on? Video? Gewaldig. Check this out. Nice volume.
Hey, everybody. So I bumped into a couple of Yidden over Shabbat. And in the past few days, and I'm getting this. I'm getting that, hey, Rabbi, we're sitting there, we're doing the daf, and I'm 8 daf behind, I'm 10 daf behind. It's just, we really bit off more than we can chew. So I felt as if, I don't know, I just want to tell you something. Number one, just write down what you missed and jump in today, daf chaf. Just jump in. Just jump in wherever you are. You missed 8, you missed 10, you didn't start yet. Just write it down at the beginning. Here, I wrote down mine. I wrote over here. I missed 9 daf. That's right, Ari Miller. I missed 2 over here and 1 over there. So together, I put it together. Jump in. If you can't. If you lost that spark, it's cool. But I would say this, like Rebelli always says, it's not about the daf. It's about the yomi. Now let me go very deep into that. It's not even about doing the daf. It's about keeping a yomi. Dirshu just started 2 weeks ago to do the Mishnah Brura yomi. So if you want to kind of veer off from the Daf Yomi for a little bit, go into halacha. They're doing Hilchos Tzitzis now. I do that as well. It's so much fun. It's so invigorating. There's so much information that is on the mark every single day. And promise yourself, all right, I'll take off for Yevamos. And Ksubas, the next Masechta, I'll jump right back into the Daf Yomi. I'll jump right back into Reb Eli. I'll keep that going. But guys, I love that we're doing this together. I love that in Los Angeles, we have a crew. To me, that's the most important thing. Keeping us all Yomi is keeping us all one heart beating together. Keep it going. I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know.
Okay. I don't know if I agree with him, but I guess if he's talking to somebody that's completely out of it and completely doesn't get Yevamos and doesn't want to do it, then yes, you should do something Yomi. Do Shnai Mikra, do Mishnah Brura, do whatever you can do, Yomi, Aleph Beis. But the ikir is Daf Yomi. All right, here we go. 11 lines from the bottom, Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Beis. Sholach le Rav Mishar. We're going to have easier sugis now for the next 3-4 days. We're going to kind of move away from Yevamos and all the crazy charts. We have a couple easier ones today. Sholach le Rav Mishar Shio, B'tav Sinoya le Rav Papi, Lamdenu Rabbeinu, Eishes Achi, Avioav, grandfather, sister-in-law. Now we know a sister-in-law, Doraisa. V'achois Avioav, Ma'u. What about a grandfather's sister? So they're very similar. Grandfather's sister-in-law, a grandfather's sister. Is that also shniyos? Mid lamata erva, the father's sister-in-law, and the father's sister is an erva. So what about the father's father's sister and the father's father's sister-in-law? If you go up one generation, you know, when you're talking about the father's sister, what is she called? An aunt. A father's sister-in-law, also an aunt. But you don't call a grandfather's sister an aunt. What is that, a great aunt? Okay, fine, great aunt. So, not a good raya. Don't listen to what I just said. Tashma. At the end of the day, it's a whole different generation. It's not to be confused with an aunt. It's a great aunt. It's something else. Tashma. Mine shniyos. When we were discussing the shniyos yesterday, these two, the grandfather, sister, and sister-in-law not mentioned. Says the Gemara, perhaps ton of a shear. Maybe, yes, it didn't mention it because sometimes it doesn't mention the whole entire list. It leaves out something. But whenever we leave something out, we have to leave out more than one. My shir, the high shir. You can only say he left it out if he left other things out. Says the Gemara, shir, shnia is the Reb Chia. Take a look at this. This is also from the Arskro with permission. Basically, shnia is the Reb Chia are 6 great-grandchildren. Well, it goes great-grandchildren, 3 generations down, and 3 generations up. So, either from your daughter, the husband's son and daughter. I lost the mode. Okay. Anyway, you see this. There's a man. Let's talk about the man and then the woman. The man has a son. The son's daughter in black is a Dairaisa. But the son's daughter, where it says number 2 over there, the son's daughter is Shniyas according to Rebbe Chia. That's a great-granddaughter. Great-granddaughter. We're not talking about grandson because you can't marry grandson. Marrying a granddaughter. How? How do you get to her? Your son's daughter. Great-granddaughter. Now, 1 grade. Thank you. 1 grade. I just put the 2 over there. I'm just showing that even though there's 4 on the bottom, 4 circles on the bottom, we're counting them as 2. 1 and 2. Because one of them is thank you. The daughter of a daughter, obviously, is the Deraisa, and the daughter's daughter is also one of the Shniyas. Fine. Now, let's take it to the wife, if I can. Shkoyach, it's not working. I'm going to go back to, here we go. Okay, no. On my screen, I see it, but you don't see it. Do you need to take my computer again? I don't know. The new PowerPoint. We were using Google Slides. Now we're going to the new program, Shvacham Isis. It worked just fine with with Google Slide. But I'm pushing it. No, you don't see this. Okay, anyway. Great granddaughter from the wife's side also. And then, I don't know, maybe Yosef will show it. Maybe he'll be able to get it somehow. And now we're going to go upwards. Makore, should we stop the share and you get it right? What? You have it? Oh, he's going to my computer. Okay, we're going to pause for a second. There's no continuing. We need the sheets. Wife. Here we go. Wife. Givalde. How did that happen? Good. On my screen it shows. Okay, anyway. So this is the wife's great-granddaughter from both sides, either from her daughter, from her son. And now that's not working again. No. I'm looking for, okay, here we go. Oh, now we go up generations. So we're going to the mother-in-law's father's mother. Mother-in-law's father, mother. Right? Because we're trying to get to a woman. A shniyas that's aser. 3 generations up. The wife's mother-in-law, the wife, and then your mother-in-law, her father, her father's mother. And then you go to the father-in-law. The father-in-law's father's mother. Okay? 3 generations up. The Gemara calls this 4 generations. Before we called it 3, the Gemara is going to discuss why this is 4 and it's 3. But the kids are 3 generations up. These are all Rebbe Chia. We're still on Daf Chof Aleph Amud Beis. Ameimar Achsher. So perhaps because we left out the Rebbe Chia, we also left that out as well. The grandfather's sister and sister-in-law. Says the Gemara, Ameimar Achsher be'ishes achi avi aviv ubachis avi aviv. In fact, Meir said that the grandfather's sister and the grandfather's sister-in-law mutter, they're not shniyos. Omalei Rav Hillel Rav Ashi. Says Rav Hillel, Lididi chazili shniyos mar berei de Ravno. I saw with my own eyes a document that had shniyos according to mar berei de Ravno. Uchsivan shitzrei liisura, and there's 16 of them. My love, Tamnei de Masnisa, 8 that we learned yesterday. B'shis de Reb Chia, and the 6 that we just learned from Reb Chia. V'hanach tarti, and these two, the grandfather's sister and sister-in-law. Hoshitzri, total of 16. I don't remember what the 16 are, but I remember that there was 16, and perhaps we could do our own calculation, 8 plus 6 plus 2. But at the end of the day, there should be 17. Why? Because if we go to this one right over here, it's not working. Do me a favor, give me the cable. I want to use the cable. Let's do the cable. Let's try the cable. Try the cable.
Same thing. The same output.
What?
The same output. It's the same thing. It's a screen. It's a program.
Give me the cable.
It's not the cable. 18 minutes.
All right, here we go. Anyway, this one. Wow. You're amazing. All right. Because Avi did it, not because you. Why didn't you go into my computer and fix it? Zog the Gemara. Last line here. Last line on the Chafal from Beis, and today's shir is over. The 17. Yesterday's case, the furthest aunt possible. Your aunt, that's what? Your mother's brother, that's already very distant because it's your mother's brother's wife, but he's not even your mother's brother completely. He's only halfway. Mother's brother, that you share a mother. And that we decided is Aser. Haloi Kashya. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. Wow. When it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Says Gemara, you know, the grandfather's sister and the grandfather's sister-in-law, they're very, very similar. We'll count it as one. So we don't have 17, we have 16. As the Gemara, but I saw the list. I saw a whole document that had 16 names on it, and they're all Aser. So it will tell me that the grandfather's sister and sister-in-law are Aser. If you saw a document that said that all these are mutter, you'll let people marry the whole list because you saw a document? That's how you're going to paskin halacha based on a document that somebody saw in a museum somewhere? Did Mar Berei the Ravna himself sign on it? No. You cannot be soymech on it. There's a story about the Chazon Ish. He said that there's a certain letter, he wanted it written a certain way. He paskin, it has to be written a certain way. So they brought him a Sefer Torah from Tzvat. That's a Sefer Torah from the time of the Rishonim. Ha! It's different than what you said. So he said, who says it's from the Rishonim? Who told you? How do you know? So a few weeks later, they come back to him and say, oh, the Rav was mamash mechavan el emes. They found out that this Sefer Torah, there's a fire back in the day, and it burnt some of the uriyos, and they replaced those uriyos. In fact, when they scrolled it back to a different part of the Sefer Torah, it was mamash like what the Chazon Ish said. So you know what he said? And who said that that's true? Who said that it's still Sefer Torah? Don't bring a raya against me. Don't bring a raya for me. If you don't have it signed by somebody with authority, then you can't bring a raya from it. Tani debei Rebechia, Shlishi shebebnoi, the son's daughter. Shlishi shebebnoi v'shebebitoi. So a son's daughter is a deraisa. Son's daughter is the gzeira. V'shebebitoi. Again, the daughter of a daughter is what? Deraisa. And there were geyser on the daughter of the son of the daughter. A daughter of a daughter is a deraisa. But a son of a daughter, you can't marry. But the son of the daughter's daughter, it goes daughter, son, daughter. There were geyser. V'shebeben ishtoi, v'shebebas ishtoi, shnia. They said it's a shnia. Revi shebechame v'shebechamoisoi, shnia. So, these are here you see them right over here. This is the wife's son's daughter. Oh, it's mamish working, Givaldi. Unbelievable. Gary's amazing. Now if you go down, you go upwards to the mother-in-laws. So now it's the same distance from the wife, but the Gemara is calling it a Revi. As we discussed before. Let's see if I have it here. Oh. If you look over here, I numbered them. It says wife is 1, the father-in-law is 2, father-in-law's father is 3, and the 4th generation up is father-in-law's father's mother. Ask the Gemara, why are you calling it 4 generations? From the wife, and when it comes to this case, it's 3 generations. I don't consider the wife. The Gemara calls it shlishi. You ignore the wife and go, the wife's son, wife's son's son, wife's son's son's daughter, great-granddaughter. Why? Where we're talking about this case, so all these are because of the wife. So we consider her and we put her in there. Because down this way is talking about anusasai. We're talking about even when he violated this woman. So we don't have to consider it. It's not his wife. It's not Ishtai. It's anusasai. Vaha ben Ishtai ubas Ishtai. But in there, the black circles. Ben Ishtai, Bas Ishtai, the Yisur Mekoyach Ishtai Kasi, V'loi Chashivla. How come in those cases, how come it's not, the wife is not mentioned for them? Aidi, the Tana Shleisha Daris Lamata, Didei, V'loi Chashava. Tana Nam Shleisha Daris Lamata, Didei, V'loi Chashava. Okay, the Gemara just says it flows better in the Lashon. Amalei Rav Ashi Rav Kahana. Shniyos Debei Reb Chia Yeshlim Hefsek or Elam Hefsek. If you're looking at this chart right over here, is that the end of the... Is that it? What if you go one more generation down? Another daughter. A wife's son's daughter's daughter. You go 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you go up 5 generations. Is there a hefsek or not? Does it stop? We know other arayis, there's no stop. It just goes and goes forever. A kal is kal, keeps on going. Toshma. Perhaps you can bring a raya, damarav, arba noshim yishlam hefsek. It says that we learned yesterday, 4 women have a hefsek, right? Yesterday, at the end of the sugya, we had, not at the end of the sugya, but it was on Amud Aleph, I think. Yeah. There's a stop. Only 4 women stop. Everybody else doesn't stop. So, l'chayr, this doesn't stop. It'll go another generation, also another 2 generations. V'sulai, not more than 4. Says the Gemara, Dimol Kiko Amarav, Lahim Asnisa. Maybe when Rav said there's no stop, that it stops, there's 4 women that stop. He said there's 3. Reb Zira said there's 4. Maybe it's only what he was talking about over there. That brayso. Okay, so another right. Tashma shlishi urevi. Shlishi urevi in tfeilai. Over here it says by us. It goes 3 generations down, 4 generations up, but we stop l'chayra. Says Gemara Dilma mishlishi ve'elach mirevi ve'elach. No, that's not a good raya. Maybe it's talking about from the 3rd generation on, so even 4, 5, 6. And from the 4th generation on top, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we don't know. Says the Gemara. So now, by the way, it's brand new sugya. If you were spacing out until now, if you just started Yevamos today, brand new sugya. Amalei Rav Rav Nachman. Chazim mar haimer abonon da'asim imarava va'amar. Bo minei bo b'marava. They asked in Eretz Yisrael. Did you see this Talmud Chacham that came from Eretz Yisrael? This is what they asked over there. Gazru shniyas begerim. So we know that a ger is gayer kikotan shenoy ladami. A ger is like he's brand new, just born today, to the point where he's mutter to marry his own mother, his own sister. He's brand new. He's just born. He's not related to anybody in his past. But we'll see that he cannot marry them because of a certain zera. The question is, since he can't marry them, he can't marry his own mother, where the guys are also on shniyos. Does a ger have shniyos? Says the Gemara. There's a story with Reb Chaim Kanievsky. A guy comes to Reb Chaim Kanievsky and says, I'm looking for a shidduch. So Reb Chaim Kanievsky tells him, who says that your shidduch was born yet? Born yet? Okay. The next year he got married, and somebody reminded him. Said, you went to Reb Chaim Kanievsky, who says your shidduch was born yet? Yeah. your Kala was just in this guy this year. It wasn't born yet. Milsa. Sorry, skipped. Omarle hashtu Meir v'gufa. His own mother's own sister. If not for the fact, people will say, a guy is not allowed to marry his mother, but when he becomes Jewish, he's allowed to marry his mother. So they'll say, Christianity is more chashuv than Judaism. When he was a guy, he couldn't marry his mother, but when he's a Jew, he could. It's a Kedusha Chamur, a Kedusha Kala. So Meir said he can't. But to go so weit, to say that you have to be Geyser Shniyos, that don't push it. In other words, even the Erva itself is mutter, and we just said to be Machmer, so there's no reason to be Geyser Shniyos, the grandfather's sister-in-law. Even his own mother is mutter, so you don't have to be Geyser these things. Certainly, Shniyos Mibaya, certainly not. Omer of Nachman, Gerim, Hoyel Vasel Liyadam. Since we're discussing Gerim, Nebumu Milsa. I gotta say something about it. There's a guy in a Shever Brachas sitting around the table, and he tells the Chaver there, he says, Rabbi Isai, let's start singing Mo'afti Torah Secha. Mo'afti, it's a Shever Brachas. It's not, no shaychus. No, we gotta sing Mo'afti. And he's so like, why should we sing? I'm telling you guys have to sing Mo'afti Torah Secha. So finally, after 5 minutes of convincing, he starts singing Mo'afti Torah Secha.
Mo'afti Torah Secha.
It's part of the nigga. Ay Mo'afti Torah Secha. Ay kol hayoim yisichosi. Ay Mo'afti Torah Secha. Help us out at least. So the niggin is over. The guy gets up. He goes, because he's saying Mo'afti Torah, I was just reminded about a beautiful pshat from my Rosh Yeshiva. Since it happens to be you mentioned something about Gerim, I have a beautiful pshat in Gerim. Achim and Oheim Lo yoidu.
It's like you're really scratching the bottom.
I'm telling you, it's Yevamos. Achim and Aim lo yoidu. If a ger has a brother, but they share the same mother, they shouldn't testify against each other. They shouldn't testify together. In other words, they're pasul eidos. V'meidu, eidos and eidos. If they did testify, it's good. They're not even related halachically, so they shouldn't. But if they did, it's okay. But brothers from a father, there's no kurva at all. By the mother, everybody knows that they're related. Over here by the father, not. Meir says they could testify together, not a problem. Why is it when it comes, you're not allowed to marry your sister, but you're allowed to testify with your brother? Everybody gets married. So people could get confused and they'll say, there's no erva. Maybe by Jews also there's no erva. Eidos lebezdin mesur. Who accepts testimony? A bezdin, only a bezdin. Bezdin know the halacha. They know that a ger is kikadin shenoy ladami. But other people don't know that a ger is kikadin shenoy. They'll see a ger marrying a sister. They'll think, I could also marry a sister. The ger is ger kikadin shenoy ladami. That's what they know. Says the Mishnah, the official Mishnah sponsored by official. If a person has even a resemblance of a brother, and the Gemara is going to say that it means a mamzer. So that brother, if this mamzer, that his brother dies, he is miyabim the yevama. We learned the other day in the Mishnah that he's not miyabim, he should do chalitza, but the zibam. He's a brother for everything. The Gemara is going to explain. He yarshins him everything. A resemblance of a brother does not include if you have a brother, your father had a relation with a goya, that is not your brother for anything. A person who fathered a son, in other words, he fathered a mamzer. His wife does not require yibum. He has a son somewhere. Yes, it's not the best son in the world, it's a mamzer, but it's a son. That son who hits his father is chayiv misa. He's a regular son. If somebody fathered a son from a Goya, that person, his wife does require Yibum. What are we talking about? If his father had relations with an erva, one of the arayas, the kid is a mamzer. It's considered a child. Pshita, achivu. It's a brother. A brother is a brother. Mao the same leilif achva mibnei Yaakov. So it says over here by Yaakov, it says Shnei Ma'aser Avodecha Achim Anachnu. It also says by, don't look at the red here, I just took it off another thing. Yeshu Achim Yachtov Umeis Echad Mem. This is talking about Yibum. By Yibum it says Achim. So we learned this already before, that the Achim by Yibum are brothers from a father only. But I would think, let's learn more. It's Yibum. We're learning Yibum from Yaakov Avinu. It's also brothers that are not puzzle. Kamash malon, that even puzzle children are still achim. But maybe not. Maybe a mamzer should not be considered a brother. Since when it comes to yibum, if you fathered a mamzer, the wife doesn't get yibum, miskak nami zakik, then he's also going to be mekayim the mitzvah of yibum. Two things. If a person has a son that's a mamzer, it's considered a son. You don't do yibum. So if a person has a brother that's a mamzer, that brother that's a mamzer does yibum to the wife, or chalitza, as Rashi points out. What does it mean it's a brother? You should become tummy. If a person has a brother that's a mamzer, and you are a kohen is not allowed to become tummy for anybody. But as you see in the chart right over here, there's 7 kroivim, ishtoi of evimai, a father, mother, b'noi bitoi, son and daughter, if the brother, the second to last one, your brother is a mamzer, and you're a kohen, should you become tummy? Should you deal with the body and bury him? Yes, he's your brother, deal with him. Pshita, achevu, what do you mean? It's a brother for everything. When it comes to a kohen and a wife, you should become tummy to your wife. You shouldn't become tummy to your wife. Which one is it? A kohen should become tummy to bury his kosher wife, a regular wife. But if she's a grusha, and you shouldn't have married her to begin with, and you're a kohen, you don't bury her. You don't become tamei. So too, that you should not become tamei when your brother is a mamzer. Kamash malon, it's different than a wife. When the wife is puzzle, you're not tamei. You don't become tamei to her. But your brother, yes. Why? She's not your wife. What does that mean? Since you have to divorce her, you have to divorce her, we don't consider her your wife and to become tamei. But a brother is a brother is a brother. You'll never be able to get away from him. Sponsored by Moshe Horn in honor of Shmuley Sugar, the original sugar shaker. Sponsored in honor of Ed Kinsbursky, Brian Kinsbursky, and Ari Miller for learning the Daf. I forgot which one. It was one of the briskers, like the Netziv. I don't remember who. One of the brisker, in order to get into the yeshiva, you had to take a big faher, but if you're related, he let you in. So this guy came up with a whole shtickle tire that he's related to the brisker, to the Rav. So my mother's grandfather's son was, he said, no, that's too far away. So he said, okay. So when the brisker Rav, or whoever it was, started Dami Shmon Esrei, he comes and he whispers to him, he says, Elikei Avram, Elikei Yitzchak, it's too far away. What about that? So when he finished, he said, no, a father is always a father. A father is a father, it doesn't matter how far away, but your distant thing like that, that's different. Okay, so over here also, a brother is a brother, doesn't matter how. Okay. If you fathered a brother, your brother came from a shivcha, that's not related to you. My time. When a person has an Eved Ivri, he's allowed to give his Eved Ivri, Jewish slave, he's allowed to marry him off to his shivcha knainis. And what does it say? That the children remain for the master. In other words, you have no relation. If a person fathers a child with a non-Jew, has no relation to him. If a person has a son, even a somewhat of a son, resemblance of a son, his wife is not required to do yibum. Amar Rav Yehuda, what does it mean? Lasui mamzer. My time, ubein ein loy, ayin olav. It could have said ein without the yud. Rashi brings a couple examples. Mein yivami, it says it without a yud. The word ein. So since it says ein, you could pronounce it with ayin olav. You should look into it, search to see if you have some semblance of a son, and this mamzer is considered a son. If a person fathered a mamzer, and the mamzer beats up his father, he's put to death. This is my favorite heter to talk Lashon Hara. If a person is not oisem amcha, person doesn't go with halacha, whatever, he's in oisem amcha. So you could hit him, you could do whatever you want to him. So this guy fathered a mamzer. Father's a mamzer. He's not a good guy. He's not a oisem amcha. He's not keeping halacha. So if the son hits him, he's not chayev. Says the Gemara, what's the obvious answer? Kidamar Pinchas b'shvei Rav Papa. Boy said tshuva. Like we had over there in Chagiga, he did tshuva. A guy stole something, he did tshuva. Chanami kishal said tshuva. I don't know if I could get to. I'm scared to go out of this. Yeah, fine. It's already 8:02. Somebody sent me a video of him doing tshuva. I don't know. He took some device like a game, like a Nintendo. I don't know what, and he says Baruch Shepatrani, and he got rid of it. Sent me a video. Okay, the daf is unbelievable. The stopping to do video games. Zok the Gemara. So he did tshuva. And if he did tshuva from that point on, he's oisem ma'asamcha. The fact that he had a mamzer once upon a time, that's the beauty of tshuva, the gift of tshuva. No matter how big the avera, even if somebody fathers a mamzer, could do tshuva. Hachanamik shas tshuva. Says the Gemara, Vaybar tshuva, but how could you do tshuva? V'snan, we mentioned it yesterday. It says in the Mishnah, Shimon ben Asi oimer ezu muvas lo yuchel iskoin. What's a bad deed that you can't fix? Ze abal erva v'oilem en a mamzer. If you're Baal Erva, you can do tshuva. But if once you have a child from her, that child leaves a big scar in this world. Says Gemara, you're right. Yes, you're right. You can erase it completely, and he's walking around in the world, and there's a mamzer walking around because of you. But he did tshuva. From that point on, he's oisem ma'asamcha. He does everything up here halacha. He does it. He's a good Jew. The fact that he has a mamzer on the side is something else. Rabbi Yisai, if somebody eats an ant, how many malchus does he get?
The father's side or the mother's side?
How about if he eats a fly? Forget an ant. Okay, if you eat an ant, a 6-legged creature, you chayiv 5 malchus. If you eat a fly and you enjoy it, you want to eat the fly, you chayiv 6. How do you get 6 malchus? They give you malchus, you go to the hospital, you heal after 2 months, you come back, they give you again. You go to the hospital again, come back, they ask you, was it worth it? Yes, it was worth it. And you go back again 6 times. Wow, what a geschmack fly that was. Ooh, I'll take it 6 times. If a person has a relation with his sister, how many malchus does he get? It was b'shaygig, b'mezid, or whatever. Or how many korbanos, how many chatas does he have to bring? If it was b'shaygig. Says the Gemara, Habal achoisoi vibas ishes aviv. If somebody had a relation with his sister, and she is the daughter of his father's wife, in other words, it was not ma'oines, it was meratzim. There was once a Rebbe in Cheder who was trying to teach his kids, the kids in Cheder, what a mamzer is. So he asked one of these Rebbe Shenikals, he says, if you marry your sister, what's the child? The kid thinks, he goes, well, it's 12 times the Einikel of the Baal Shem Tov, 6 times the Kedushas Levi, and 4 times the Rabshitzer. Okay. Says Chayiv 2, says the Gemara. Chayiv 2 chatois, 2 malchus. No, he's only Chayiv once. He doesn't get malchus for the pasuk of Bas Sheishasav. So machlokes Rabbi Yossi and Rabbanon. My tamay the Rabbanon Amri michtik siv There's two psukim here. There's an extra pasuk. It says, Ervas achoischa, bas avicha. You shouldn't marry your sister, even if it's from Oines, or bas imecha. And then it says another pasuk. Ervas bas eishes avicha, merledes avicha, achoischa hi. It's your sister. Totally extra pasuk. Lamali. It's coming to Aviv. It's coming to tell you that you're chayiv twice. Very basic by Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Kro Achois Chahi Mishum Achois Hayatam Chayvai Viatam Chayvai Mishum Bas Esres Aviv. Says Rabbi Yosi. The second pasuk says Achois Chahi is coming to exclude and to tell you you're only chayiv once. It's a good exclusion. What's this he coming? It should say Achois Cha. He. What does he mean? She is the only chayiv once, no? Like Rabbi Yosi. This is incredible. If a person had a relation with a sister from Oines, even from Oines, but this sister shares a father and a mother, you're also chayiv. You get what's going on here? I would think you're only chayiv if she's your sister from one or the other, but if it's a combination of father and mother, she's a really strong sister. You should be pater. Why? Because it doesn't say anywhere in the Torah that you chayiv on both. It just says in the Torah you chayiv on one. So you want to say that you chayiv on both. It's like it's a kavachimer, of course. So you might ask me, but every sister from a father and a mother is also a sister from a father. So it's already in there. So I'll tell you, there's something called moilach. If you bring your kid, you put him in a fire for Avodah Zarah, you chayiv misa. What if you take all your children and put them in the fire? Potter. Because it says, Zari, it's mizarei l'moilach. It's only some of your children l'moilach. So, but you'll ask, but when I put all my children in the moilach, I put one in. No. So, it's what we see. I'm just giving you a mashal. It's what we see. The Torah says, your sister from your father, so maybe your sister from your father, mother not. I know it's a little shver, but there's such a musik. It's to teach us even the idea that you cannot punish somebody because you have a good kavachimer. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Kain, Lichte Rachman Achoischa, He Lamali, Mishum Achoischa Tamachayvoi, Vetamachayvoi Mishum Bas Eishes Aviv. Again, it comes to exclude. V'Rabbanan Avagav D'Chsiv Achoischa, Itzrich L'Michtav He. So the Rabbanan say that he is not extra. Shloitayim Ba'alma Mazir Min Adin. Again, going back to their original point, nothing extra. They're just emphasizing their point. That what? Maybe all over the Torah you could punish somebody if you have a kavachimer. But you see from our case over here that you can't. There is a concept that even though you can learn something out of the kavachimer, sometimes the Torah says it anyways. To say no in the entire Torah. If I learn it out from a kavachimer, I cannot punish somebody. It needs to be mefurish in the pasuk. It's unbelievable, no? Somebody had a relation with his sister who's from a father and a mother. I would have a havamina without this mefurish pasuk. He's not chayiv. Only from either a father or either a mother. But you put both of them together, that's a kavachimer and it's mutter. Not mutter, but you don't get oynish. We had major issues. That's why we're late today. My issues. Why is that choischa in the second pasuk? It should be in the first pasuk. If it's not coming to tell you another lav, so then why does the Torah repeat itself? Only when the father has ishus, married, if you have relations with a guy, maybe it comes to exclude a sister that comes from a violation but not a marriage. That we already learned a number of times. We'll repeat it and that's it. The Rav Rami, just 4 lines till the bottom of the Amud and we're finished for today. The Rav Rami, he has a contradiction. You shouldn't have relations with the daughter of your son or the daughter of your daughter. But if it's the daughter of your wife or the daughter of your son's wife, It's not a problem. Uchsiv, ervas isha ubita lo yisigal, but the other pasuk says your wife's children are also asur on you. Is bas ben bas bita? Hakeitzad. Kan ba'insin. The first pasuk is talking about einsim, and that's why it's out. It's mutter. Kan benisuin, but bas bena is kan benisuin. That's why it's also. So, the son and a daughter from A'aynes is considered your son. And also a sister. So that we're going to take this Rava, and go to our case. A sister from A'aynes, from a violation, is also considered a sister. Have a wonderful day.